In this Metaltrax training session, we were going to be entering purchase orders. On the top menu, I'm going to click on Purchases, and I'm going to come over to the Enter Purchase Orders icon. At this point, you notice on the upper left-hand side, you have these little mini icons. What these stand for is E to Edit. This one's a Cancel. This one is a Print button. Then there's a Lookup, and then an Attachment will allow you to attach various different documents like drawings, PDF files, Microsoft Word documents, and so on. I'm now prompted for a PO number. I can type in a PO number if it hasn't been used, or I can just hit Enter, and it'll assign the next available PO number. At the order date, I can hit Enter, or again, type in an order date. Now I'm ordering from vendor Nucor. So in this case, I can do a lookup, or I can just start typing, and the system will know that I'm doing a lookup if I don't type in the whole vendor ID. So I'm looking for Nucor, I type in NUC and hit Enter. You notice it pops up my lookup window and automatically fills it in with Nucor steel. I can then select by clicking on the Select button, or I could have just hit Enter to select. At the ship date and the receipt date, I could start to type in a ship date or a receipt date, or I could simply type in and hit the Enter key, and it'll assign a ship date and a receipt date. The vendor contact in this instance is pulled in automatically. It's Mark Jacobson. You notice the buyer is pulled in. That's myself, Kyle Kimsey. Now on the vendor contact, you can override it if you're talking to somebody else at the vendor place of business, or you can also make it so it brings in another contact. Under the Accounts Payable Vendor Maintenance screen, there's a Contacts button. The Contacts button allows you to set up default vendors, and that's why this is pulled in with Mark Jacobson. Now a few things about this header screen. This is telling me it's from the main warehouse. It's going to be going into our main warehouse from their warehouse. It also tells me up here on the top, ship method. I can have 3 different ship methods. I can have a deliver, a direct ship, or a will call. In this case, I'm going to have it delivered to me. The ship via, I can define these in my miscellaneous master file section. But let's say I'm going to have it shipped via the Swift trucking system. And then you notice down here also on the bottom middle, you have these user-defined fields. These are for tracking things of your own choosing. You can track additional FOB points or whatever you want to track in there, and it can also optionally print on the purchase order. In this case, I'm going to leave these blank because many of my clients do. And now we're going to look down at the bottom of these buttons. You notice there's an order detail button. As I highlighted, it tells me it's F3. The non-material cost is F4, and a few other things. Now what we're going to do is we're going to explain what the non-material cost button is. In this case, maybe Nucor is going to be charging me $50 for freight. At any time after I've put in the order or prior to putting in the order, I can do a third party right there. That would be a third party PO that would tie to this order, and that's called a supporting PO. If I just want to say Nucor is going to be charging me $100 per lot for the freight, I could type it in. You notice they have this little down arrow key, allows you to choose per pound, per hundredweight, per lot, or a percentage of the order. These fields or these descriptions are set up in the feature initialization screen. If you go in and type in cost in that feature initialization screen, it'll allow you to define the cost. In this case, I've defined freight, fuel surcharge, steel surcharge, labor, and so on. But we're just going to add one right now, and then we'll show you how this works. So it's a $100 lot charge. I'm going to save it by clicking on the little save icon. I'm now ready to put in my detail of my order. So I'm going to come down, click on order detail, or hit F3. Now I'm prompted for a line number. I'm going to hit Enter and let the system assign a line number. I am having it go to my main warehouse. Additionally, I could have it go to another warehouse. I'm going to hit Enter. If you're tying this purchase order line to a sales order line, you could type that in, and that's what we call a buyout. But in this instance, I'm just going to hit Enter, and we're going to order some material from the vendor. If I wanted to order some plate, my items are set up pretty generically where I type them PL1, and then I have a dash with a number up behind it. A lot of people like their item IDs more intuitive. But let's say I just type this in, look at my different plate items, and I want to order some 1/4-inch plate. I hit Enter here. It brings in my unit weight, as you notice, of 10.209 pounds per square foot. And let's say I want to order 50 pieces. And this 48 by 96 is brought in by default automatically. You notice if I click my little down arrow key here, I can see I can order non-standard, 48 by 96, 48 by 120, or some 60 by 240s. Let's say I'm ordering a 48 by 96, and as I hit Enter, I type in my unit cost. I can look at the bottom and see my last cost was $65 a hundredweight. In this instance, let's say he quotes me $67 a hundredweight. Now I don't have to do just per hundredweight. I can do a lot of different valid factors, cost by factors, per square foot, per square inch, per piece, per pound, per hundredweight, per ton, and various different factors. But in this case, let's say I'm choosing per hundredweight, and I say, okay, that's good, I'm done. I simply click on the line finish button, and at this point I can then hit enter and go on and order something else. So if I wanted to do some angle, I could type in AN and hit enter, and I see that I don't have any of this 1 by 3/4 by 1/8 inch angle, so I hit enter on it, and I want to order 100 pieces of that. In this instance, I did this one a little different to show you that you don't have to have a default order width and length. You can set that up so you can choose it. If it's not common, you can have a non-standard size you choose, or I can say it's a 20-footer or 40 or whatever the case may be. Those are set up under your item maintenance screen. In this case, let's say the vendor quotes me $52 cents a pound. We'll do it a little different like that. You notice it pops up and says, do you want me to change the mill cost? This is a completely optional feature that allows you to change the mill cost, especially if you're doing markup or pricing bumps over your mill cost when you're on the sales order screen. In this case, I'm going to say yes. And so now, as I hit enter through those, I can hit line finished, and that line goes up in the grid. Now, if I ever wanted to do a note on either one of these lines, I can just simply come down, and there's a line note button. And the line note button allows me to put in external notes, internal notes, or internal and external notes, and it tells you which ones they print on. So let's just say I want an external note to the vendor. I can click up here in the external notes, and I can start typing. However, I can also set up canned comments to save me some typing. In this case, I want to say must be clean and dry, and I want that printed on the purchase order. Now I can also add to it. I can come down here and I can say no damaged material will be accepted. I can also do that and hit save by clicking on that save icon. Also, a few other things I can do from the purchase order screen. I can reserve an item to a sales order. I can do an inquiries button, and the inquiries button will allow me to look at purchase history and inventory availability. So maybe I say, let's see what we have in this angle. In this case, it'll tell me that in this item I don't have any 20s or any 60s. So I'm actually ordering the footage. Let's go back up though, and let's click on that plate and see if I have any of that. And I can come down, click on the inquiries button, and see how much plate I have. I do have some plate. You notice it'll bring in and it'll tell me what I have in non-standard. It'll also tell me the 48 by 96, 48 by 120s, and the 60 by 240s. So I do have quite a bit of that 48 by 96 material. When I'm done, I'm now ready to finish my purchase order. So I can say order finished by clicking on the order finish button. And in this case, I'm going to click on the purchase order and I'm going to preview it. I'm going to preview the order and click on print. When I do that, I'm going to tell it that I want to see it on screen. That's what the preview is. And let's go see what our purchase order looks like. Here's our purchase order. This is just one of the many forms we have. I'm going to zoom up on it a little bit so you can see. You notice our freight charge of $100 a lot. Here's my pieces that I'm ordering, the plate. There's my extended total, and here's my angle, my 100 pieces of angle, and there's my extended total. And then at the bottom I have my note that tells the vendor that no damaged material will be accepted. Then at the bottom I have an acknowledged by and an authorized by. Then when I'm all done, if I want to just email this over to the vendor, I click on the email button and type in the vendor's name or their email, and you can also, if you have an email set up as a default, it will pull in automatically for you. You type that in and then you hit send, and it will send out an email of this purchase order. So that is entering a purchase order, a simple purchase order entry. And the next training session we will have is we'll go in and receive in this purchase order 4024. Thank you.